Hello guys and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'll be talking about perfect competition. What is perfect competition? Perfect competition exists when none of the individual market participants, example buyers or sellers, can influence the price of a product. For example, let's look at the market for oranges. Here there are many buyers and many sellers, and because the price of oranges are relatively cheap, if one seller in particular wants to increase the price beyond what the market is charging, he might not receive enough buyers for his product. Therefore, we can say that the prices in perfect competition remain fairly constant over the amount of product that's actually being produced. In this video, I'll take you through different possible short-run equilibrium positions of the firm under perfect competition, meaning I'll take you through an analysis of where a perfect competitor makes an economic profit, where a firm makes a normal profit, and where a firm makes a loss. These are the three most important situations you find under perfect competition. But before we get there, let's just go over a few characteristics of a perfect competitor. So what I mean by this is, let's analyze this in terms of number of firms, nature of product, how free is the entry into the market, information between perfect competitors, does it exist or does it not? If collusion is possible, what is the firm's control over the price? What does the demand curve look like for the perfect competitor? And what is the long run economic profit? Do they make an economic profit or do they not make an economic profit in the long run? Okay, so number of firms, so many that no firm can influence the market price. The nature of the product is homogeneous, meaning that it's the same across markets, whether you go to India, Japan, China, the UK, or South Africa, and orange remains an orange. Entry into the market completely free. So if you buy a bag of oranges from someone and you sell it, there's no regulation, there's no red tape. You can basically just enter that market and you can sell those products. Information. This is just basically, do consumers have information about the type of product, the price of the product? And here there's complete information available because the buyer knows all the information about the product because it's so easily and readily available. Collusion is completely impossible because perfect competitors don't want to join forces with another perfect competitor because the profit margins are quite low on these types of products. Firms control over the price of the product, obviously none here, as we've discussed in the beginning. The demand curve for the firm's product, as we know, it's completely elastic. So it will stay at a price that is constant throughout the amount of output that is produced. And then your long run economic profit is no firm in perfect competition makes an economic profit, and you'll understand this when I go through an example. To analyze perfect competition, we assume here that demand is equal to supply. So demand is exactly equal by the amount of supply. In my previous video on marginal revenue is equal to marginal cost, we did an example in a table, which is exactly the same thing, or it's a situation of perfect competition. So here we have quantity, price per unit, total revenue, marginal revenue, and average revenue. Here we have quantities from 0 to 5 in terms of production. Then we have the price of the product, which we see here remains the same. This is a characteristic of a perfect competitor. So when you're asked in a question, how do you know that this is a perfect competitor? We see that the price remains the same throughout the number of quantity or output that actually is produced. Then we have total revenue, so that's price times quantity, which gives you our values here in our third column. Then we have marginal revenue. Marginal revenue is worked out as the change in total revenue over the change in quantity. And here, when we say, for example, 20 minus 0 divided by 1 minus 0, and then 40 minus 20 divided by 2 minus 1, we will see throughout we get an amount of 20. And then on the average revenue side, our average revenue is calculated as total revenue divided by quantity. So we say total revenue, 20 divided by 1, 40 divided by 2, 60 divided by 3, all give us a value of 20 throughout. So here we can say that in perfect competition, the price is equal to total revenue, the price is equal to marginal revenue, which is equal to the average revenue. And this only exists in perfect competition. I will take you through other market structures like monopolistic competition, the oligopoly, as well as monopoly in subsequent videos. For now, it's important to understand the perfect competitor because it's used as a benchmark to understand how it differs from the other types of market structures. Okay, so now that you understand that the demand curve of a perfect competitor is equal to the price, which is equal to the average revenue and is equal to the marginal revenue, we can draw this as a flat curve. So let's look at a case where we have economic profit. Here we have our MC curve, which looks like a Nike tick, and we have our marginal revenue curve, where at the point that they meet exactly is the marginal revenue is equal to marginal cost. And here, for a perfect competitor, we know that they're going to set their price at this particular point. If you recall and if you understand, this type of price is a selling price. So even though marginal revenue is equal to your marginal cost, some people might not understand this concept where your cost is equal to your revenue. How are you actually making a profit? It's not that. The selling price has a built-in profit margin. So basically, where your marginal revenue is equal to your marginal cost is where the firm in a perfect competitive market will always set its price. It will set its price at this level, for example, 20 Rand, and output at, let's say, 10 units, right? So this rule here maximizes their price and at what quantity. For example, in this case, it will be 10. Okay, so let's look at an economic profit situation. Here, I'm just going to simply put in an AC curve. An AC curve, remember, stands for average cost, which is, in other words, just the total cost, which is now averaged out. So here, the total cost is equal to the fixed cost plus the variable cost. So an average cost is just taking the fixed cost plus the average cost and averaging over the amount of products that are being produced. So if I put the average cost in here, which looks like a sort of a semicircle, okay, we need to analyze it at the point where MR is equal to MC. So as you can see at point E1, where we have MR is equal to MC, that's the profit maximizing condition. The AC curve or the cost curve at that particular point is below our price level. Now that's our marginal revenue curve. So if we're selling the product at 20 Rand and our average cost at that particular point is only 15 Rand, that means this block that is shaded in is our economic profit situation. So here, a firm in perfect competition is actually making an economic profit, meaning that the price that it sells the product at is a lot more than what it's costing him to produce that product. So when the AC curve is below the MR curve at the point where MR is equal to MC, then we know that we're making an economic profit. The second curve that we have is a normal profit only. Here, again, we've got MR is equal to MC. At that point, that's the profit maximizing condition. If I were to put an AC curve that at that point exactly touches the MR is equal to MC at that particular point, we know that here a perfect competitor is making a normal profit. There's no economic profit because here the MR is equal to MC. He still makes a profit because remember that the price is a selling price and it has a built-in profit margin. So even though MR is equal to MC, he still makes a normal profit. Okay, case number 3, an economic loss. Here, again, we analyze the economy where MR is equal to MC, where this is your profit maximizing condition, where price is 20 and output is 10. Here, I'm going to put the AC curve above the price level. So here we can see that, for example, we're selling the product at 20 Rand, but at that particular point, our AC curve is above that point at, let's say, 25 Rand. And here we're actually making a loss of 5 Rand. So therefore, in this case, when the AC is above the price curve or the marginal revenue curve, then we know that we're making a loss in this situation. So to understand this a lot better, because P is equal to our MR, we can say that when price is greater than our AC curve or above our AC curve, we make an economic profit. The second one, where our price is equal to our AC, where it basically touches the line, we know that here we're making a normal profit. And the third case, when our price is less than or below the AC curve at the profit maximizing condition, then we know that we're making an economic loss. Okay, so these are the three most important concepts in perfect competition to analyze whether a firm is making a profit or a loss, or economic profit or a normal profit. In my next video, I'll focus on the shutdown point, where a firm needs to consider shutting down because now he can't even cover costs like his wages or his electricity bill or his water bill or even the cost of ingredients. And that's a problem, a fourth case that we need to understand when it comes to perfect competition.